that paid $100 per point, it would be a $4,120 recovery on a $1,000 investment. You can see how this is a pitch that we can make that we've never been able to make before. And all it requires us to do is mobilize. So you need to get out there and do the work to talk to folks, talk to people that at one point were not interested, but now you can show them an immediate return on investment. If we can show them this kind of a return on investment, there's no way they would get into a junior kit instead of a senior kit. Allow me to demonstrate. If that same example, you run a junior kit instead of a senior kit, a junior kit, remember, only has a 1-point value. So 1 times whatever these numbers add up to is going to be 1. It's going to be the same, right? So senior kit is 2, 4, 6, 8 points. So instead of 16 points, now you've got 8 points. You still get the momentum multiplier because you all did it before September 30th. That adds up to 16, and assuming $100 payout, just because the numbers are easier, we're going to go with that. But remember, those numbers can fluctuate up or down a little bit, probably between 85 and 100. Even if it dips between 80, the numbers still, down to 75, the numbers still work out in terms of covering your investment and then some. But let's assume 100 just because of the math is easier. And so that's $1,600. Now, remember, if you're on a junior kit, your first order bonuses are capped at whatever a junior kit's first order bonus is. So instead of getting 200, 400, 600, 800, in example 1, you only get 100, 200, 300, 400 in first order bonuses. You still get your Star Achievers bonus, and you still get your team commissions of 80. And so in example number 2, where the only difference is you're in on a junior kit instead of a senior kit, it's $2,120 instead of $4,120. So you can see that by paying an extra $499, you would have gotten an extra $2,000 in advantage. So you would have profited to the tune of $1,500. So it doesn't make very much sense to get in on a junior kit. You should probably get in or upgrade to a senior kit. And you say, well, man, that's a lot of money. I don't have $1,000 sitting around right now. Don't worry. Buy your junior kit right now. But before you sponsor that 4th person in, upgrade to a senior kit, and you'll get your money back that very next week when they pay the pool money out the very next week. And, again, you get the additional compensation associated with the regular compensation system. So let's look at example 3. In this case, you're in on a senior kit, and you sponsor 2 junior kits. Whoops, didn't mean to do that. You sponsor 2 junior kits and 2 200s. Okay, well that got you, the 2 200s got you squared. That's good. You're still squared, but your points don't add up to quite as much. In this circumstance, you've got 1 point for a junior, 1 point for a junior, but because you're a senior, you get to multiply it times 2, so that's 4 points, right? 4 points, which you did before September 30th, is $800. $800 added to $280 of first order bonuses, because that's 100, 200, and 40 and 40. So that's $280 of first order bonuses. Star Achiever of 40 if you're a brand new guy. Team commissions of 40, because that's just the way the points worked out. 800 points would split, assuming you split it in half, but for a total of 360. So even under this circumstance, if you're already in on a senior kit, you cleared $1,160. If you're not already in on a senior kit and you had to buy a senior kit, you still made a couple of $100 over and above your investment. And finally, even in this example, which I think is the worst case scenario, and you're in a junior kit, and of course after this call you'll be so wired about senior kits that you won't do that. But even if you were just in on a junior kit, and so you only got a 1, and you sponsored a junior, a senior, and a couple 200s, 1 plus 2 is 3. 3 times 2, because you did it before September 30th, is $600. $600 plus your first order bonus of $280, team commissions, Star Achievers bonuses. You add that up, it is $970 on a $499 investment. You've still doubled your money. So the point is this money is really, really good. And it's something that we've never had available to us before, but it's got a really tight time constraint. So you really want to make sure you get out and do the work, excuse me, ASAP. Need to take a little more mute, apparently. I've been running like a stall today because I'm so excited about all this stuff. Now, there's another aspect of this compensation system. In addition to that which we've already described to you, if you sponsor a person in, so you're square qualified and you sponsor your 4 in, right? you're going to be telling the 4 people that you're sponsoring in how they can go ahead and make money off of this too. So if they go in and they find their 4, this is the people that are in your downline already, the people that you've been talking to, and it's time to pull the trigger. It's time to tell them, hey, let's trip to get off the twig. We've got too much at stake here. We need to run. Let's run hard together. And so if you get a person underneath you who gets square qualified, then they get whatever their commission is, you get 20% of that commission for these people going square. And as these people go square, you'll get 20% of each of them. Once you're square qualified, once you've accomplished the square qualification, that lasts for an entire year. And so you want to get square qualified as soon as possible, and I'll show you why getting square qualified and working as a team really inures to your benefit. So you get 20% of the commission of a person who's gone square. Here's an example. It's a personal example. Linda and I, we got in, and we weren't very smart, so it was paying $85, and we got senior, junior, and we ourselves were senior qualified. So the money was around $2,600. So $2,600, that was great. That's $2,600 over and above what our normal team commissions were. That's a lot of money. And so that was terrific, but one of the people underneath us went square too. And they went square on senior. And so they got in with $85 a pop. It was around $3,000, $2,900, something like that, $2,700. But we got another $540 on top of our $2,600 that we had received for squaring ourselves. And then lo and behold, the next week, we looked at pool commissions, and there was another $400 in there. Somebody down in depth had gone square at 2,000 points, and 2,000 points, we get 20% of that, $400. So you can see why it's really helpful to get squared as soon as you can possibly get squared, because that 20% will roll up to you, and that can amount to a lot of money. And it can amount to, it's 20% here, it's 20% here, 20% here, 20% here. Every time one of these guys goes square, you get a 20% bonus, and so, or 20% of their commission. So here is a real example of what happened in our group. Randy Keeling was on the boat, and he came off just as excited. His hair was on fire. It was like Kramer in an episode of Seinfeld. He was racing in the room, and he said, this is wonderful. He got off of the boat, raced to a meeting that was put together by one of his downline in Wisconsin. They did it in Illinois. And Randy and Scott and Chuck and Sam went together to visit Nelson, who put 25 people in the room, and they explained the whole system. They came away from that with 7 applications. Now, there's 2 parts to this story. If they come away from that with 7 applications, what's the best way to do? What's the best thing they can do? One of the best things they can do is go back to their existing downline and say, hey, I got 7 people. At one time, you really wanted to run. How about now? Are you ready to run now? I got some people that I can put underneath you, and we can make this thing roll. And they explain the whole square thing that I just explained to each of you. Well, Nelson, he's ready to go square right away because he's rolling guests, right? Well, if Sam's not square, that 20% that Nelson, the person is entitled to above Nelson, it rolls up to Chuck. Well, if Chuck's not square, then it rolls up to Scott. Well, if Scott's not square, it rolls up to Randy. Well, if Randy's not square, it rolls up to me. I'm the first square. I love these guys. I do not want the 20%. I want Sam to get squared. I want Chuck to get squared before him. I want Scott to get squared. I want Randy to get squared. And so they're putting their tennis shoes on, holding the applications for Nelson until they can get themselves squared so that everybody gets another 20%. So what does this do? This helps you help the people in your group. I love the system that they put in place because all of these people now will be inspired monetarily to work together, even if they weren't inspired before. And so it's in everybody's interest to help the person below them become square. And so that's one terrific advantage of this system and how it's coming together. So when you talk to your old distributors, and we've got a meeting tomorrow with a gal that's been in our business for a while, and she's still been in ownership, but she didn't know about this. This is something that we're making a big push for. We had a distributor come to our meeting last night with a few new folks, and we had to tell him we wanted to make sure he knows. There's some people on this call whose names I can see and you cannot that don't know about this. And I'm so glad that they elected to educate themselves, because in the beginning, all of those people, they had a dream. They had something that inspired them. They wanted more time with their family. They wanted a better home. They wanted all sorts of things that they couldn't achieve being the servant of their boss. This gives them the opportunity to do that now, and they can do it in spades. And that's where I think Jim Menio did so much good for all of us on the boat. He frankly did so much good. He and Sandy did so much good from stage, and combined with the teamwork that Columbo and Karen and Jim and Sandy formed, I just personally believe that they reignited the whole company. They kind of went out there and said, we understand this, without having anybody like me to teach it to them, without having anybody like any webinars like the ones we're doing, any visual aids like the ones we're doing. They said, hey, this makes some sense. And then they set about going to get them. So, Jim, maybe you could jump in now and tell folks how you approach new distributors and how you approach old distributors and how you approach people on whether they wanted to be on a 200 or a junior kit or a senior kit, and kind of the three categories of folks that we talked about when we were on the boat.
Hey, Mike, how you doing? Well, actually, I think you just pretty much explained the whole thing, to be honest with you. You know, what we did was it was like one of those pictures that you look at. You ever see those pictures where there's a picture hidden in the picture, and if you stare at it long enough, it kind of pops out at you? Well, what we did was I was just sitting around in the living room when this program first came out, and I was just looking at the 4x4 program and the pool money, and we weren't really that interested in chasing for a Jeep. We were trying to find a way to help people to make money. And, boy, that thing just popped out at me just the way you explained it just now with your PowerPoint. I remember drawing it all out on the board, and Columbo came over, and when I met him at the door, I said, you got to see this. And I walked him in, and we had this drawn out on a whiteboard, and it was drawn out, not as good as your PowerPoint, but it was drawn out. I don't have good handwriting. But we showed the same dollars and the same figures, and then we got busy calling people in the group and showing them exactly what they can get a return on investment for sponsoring 4 people with senior kits. And so what we did is we went out and showed the plan like we normally would, and we would ask them what level they would be interested in. If they were a number 3, this is what we called it, a number 3, if somebody said, gee, I'm not really interested in the business, I'm not sure about the product, but I'll try it. And then we signed them up and we got them in just with a 2-case order, 2-case initial order. But I went home and we put them on a senior kit. And we gave them 2 cases out of the senior kit, and we billed them for it. And then,
hey, Jim, stop right there. I don't know if you're looking at the screen, but this is a slide that I tried to capture this when we were on the boat. I was typing like crazy when you were kind of going through this. Would you tell them what you mean by you put them in on a senior kit? I thought it was really instructive what Karen and Sandy and you did when you swiped their card and that kind of thing.
Right. Well, without being too confusing, there's a program that the banks use, and ironically, they call it a Square. And you can plug it into your iPad or your phone, and you can swipe their card and bill them. And so when they filled out a paper contract with us for a 2-case initial order, we went home, we swiped their card, and we billed them for a 2-case order. But then we logged them in and we registered them with a senior kit